Josh Miller made it to the east end of St. John's. Police say that part is certain. What's also certain is that the door of his friend's house was locked that night, and 20-year-old Miller never made it inside.
In St. John's tonight, the search for 20-year-old Joshua Miller continues.
Josh, everybody's missing you. You got your family and your friends worried.
Even though being the life of the party, he was always one of the more responsible ones.
Given the attire he was wearing at the time of his disappearance, we are concerned for his safety.
Josh Miller was a university student with dreams of becoming a police officer. He was a hard worker and held 2 jobs, one at a hardware store, the other as a bouncer.
At the end of the day, he wanted to be in law enforcement. That was his goal.
Josh Miller was a person who had plans for a future.
Having gone out the night before, Josh wanted to relive his fun night. His good friend Fergus Dunphy stayed home that night. Josh left his beloved Dodge Charger at Dunphy's home in the center of the city before heading downtown.
He usually crashed here a lot of the time, so I just told him, just keep in touch, let me know if you need me to pick you up or anything like that, and we'll just get you to come back here at the end of the night. And then, we talked. I wish I still had the text, so we could show you the text. But basically, I was just, it was the same banter we always had. But around close to 12 o'clock, probably 11:30 or something, he stopped answering me. That's when I kind of thought something was weird.
There was an altercation inside of one of the clubs that carried out to George Street, and evening he went missing. Josh was brought to the cab by friends who he was socialising with.
That citywide taxi drove 8 kilometers to a new subdivision off Stavanger Drive. Police say Josh was going to a friend's house. That friend was supposed to meet him back there.
We think that, he got out of the cab, there was no issues between him and the cab driver.
Josh got out wearing just a black t-shirt and jeans. Later that morning, he missed his shift at Rona, just a short distance away from where he was dropped off. Out of character, something was wrong.
There was a couple of flags. One was the fact that he didn't pick his car. The other is that he didn't answer me.
Searchers look in sheds and under patios as temperatures dropped into the -20s. Then a snowstorm blew through the area. But where Josh Miller was last seen isn't that simple. In fact, there are 3 places he was reportedly spotted, and it all depends on which version of events you choose to believe.
And 2 of those tips brought us to the search the area of Cumberland Crescent off of Mount Sawyer Road. One tip placed Josh at the Avalon Mall, and the day after he went missing. And another tip actually came from the roommates of his girlfriend at the time, who believed they saw Josh on the exterior of the property at that location.
When the snow melted that spring, police searched that area too. Nothing. 2 years later, a new tip. A man driving home that night believed he saw Josh Miller walk over a snowbank and into a wooded area near RCAF Road, not too far from where he was dropped off. So, is it possible he was in all 3 places that night?
It's possible. It's possible. But then the question comes, to go from Stavanger to Torbay Road, that's walking distance, and you can cover that area very, very quickly. To go from Torbay Road to Cumberland Crescent, you need some type of transportation. And we exhausted all forms of transportation for that night.
Ironically, the only piece of evidence left behind may have saved him. His iPhone, dropped in the back of a cab.
As for the phone, no. we were unsuccessful in our attempt to recover any data from the cell phone.
Call records didn't leave clues, and photos, videos, text messages, and emails were inadvertently erased. What happened to Josh Miller? Inspector Warren is satisfied the cab driver was truthful and had nothing to do with the disappearance. And that man who Josh Miller fought on George Street, well, he's been interviewed by police twice and has been cleared. Fergus Dunphy has heard his friend skipped out on his cab fare and ran out. To this day, he has no idea why Josh Miller went to Blue Putty Drive. If he had a friend there, it was a surprise to his best friend. And if he needed money, why not come back to Fergus Dunphy's, a 5-minute cab ride? After all, he'd need to get his car there the next morning.
In my mind, like, there's no doubt that someone killed him. There's no doubt. Like, you don't just go missing in small town St. John's without any trace of you, without someone being involved, okay?
You think about it pretty regular in terms of where could the body be? Is there anything else possible that we could do to assist in locating the body and putting some type of closure to the family?
How do I reconcile it? I mean, how do you, right? Everybody loved him, so. I mean, the good news is that, like, up until then, he did have a great life.